Huh?
Hello.
All right. Welcome to the Young Money Podcast. I'm Diana Menezes.
And I'm Vince Galango from wheninmanila.com. And yes, this is the Young Money Podcast where we talk to amazing young entrepreneurs or young at heart who have unique
Mm-hmm.
jobs. And other than talking about how they got to where they are and how others can get to where they are, we do ask them to show us the money about how much they make because that's not a common
Yeah.
question you get to ask. And speaking of unique jobs, I'm so excited for our guest today. I know
Me
you are too, Diana.
too.
Because we
Yeah, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
So excited. Hindi kasi, like, I really have this, I will tell her when she's around, but I had this offer for a little bit of what she does for one of my events. And from that, I took this idea and I developed the concept that is also inspired by another burlesque thing. I will tell you guys when we get the guest here. I don't want to
Okay,
spoil everything,
sounds
but
good.
I'm
Sounds like
just
you're
so
you're
excited.
dabbling in that field. So yeah, speaking of unique guests, unique jobs, I'm very excited because this person she is known as the rope queen of Manila, as well as she does these burlesque shows in Manila. So I believe for people who who would like to do something similar, there's no school, there's no guide on how to do this if they want
Like,
to get into this
how?
field.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm very excited to talk to her again. Rope Queen of Manila, she puts together these burlesque shows amongst other shows here. So Joyen Santos is her name. So let's bring her on. Is our guest today. Long time no
Hi,
see. Hi
long
Joyen, how
time
are
no
you?
see.
Hi.
Hi, I'm
You-
doing great. Converting my life to online these past few years. How about you guys? How are you?
I think
We're
that's
good. Yeah,
everyone.
same.
Yeah.
So I'm
Same,
interested to
same.
hear for your field of work how that works out, especially here in where we are. But yes, Joyan, I gave a very brief 1 minute elevator pitch, not even. Can you tell us more about who you are, what you do?
I guess you could summarize it also in a few words. I am a rope bondage dominatrix and a burlesque stripper, among other things. Yeah,
Nice.
Y-
the
Great
keywords.
Okay.
summary. For people
Keywords.
who don't know, I
Yeah.
mean, because we don't know who's listening. For people who've never heard of burlesque, who've never heard of bondage, who've never heard of um uh um anything you've said,
Everything. Yeah.
can you give us the longer version of that?
Okay. So each one of those terms actually has an hour's worth of 1 hour class each. But to summarize, I mean, I am one part of being a rope bondage dominatrix means I am under the umbrella of kink, okay, which I like to describe in Midori's terms as childhood joyous play with adult privilege and cool toys. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's under the umbrella of kink. I provide professional domination services, and my specialty is Japanese style rope bondage. Okay, rope bondage.
Wow.
So I use natural rope to tie people up. And the other half of it is a burlesque stripper. So burlesque nowadays, and it is some form of stripping. Okay, so whether it's the artistic side of it or the naughtier side of it, yeah, some form of clothing removal done
Mm-hmm.
as a performance for money. There.
Okay, now let me open up why I was saying that. Because, like, 3 years ago,
Yeah.
I got this Dita Von Teese performance. Yeah, you guys, are you familiar, Vince, with Dita Von Teese? I'm
Of
Yes,
sure
yes,
course.
Joyen
yes.
knows.
Of course.
So they didn't have a Dita Von Teese, whatever budget to bring her over. So they asked me, like, can you do a Dita Von Teese performance? And I was like, at first, I was like, oh my God. But what about my endorsements? Like, because it's stripping straight up. Like, I'm going to be removing my clothes. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can. For some reason, I don't know what happened to that. They changed into singing at last minute.
Mm.
But the idea, yeah, I know. The idea of stripping for money in a very artistic way in a Dita Von Teese style that we don't have like the exposure, like so much here in the Philippines, the people don't talk about it as much, right? It's not like mainstream, and I want people to know about that. So I kept on planning, and then pandemic.
Oh, sayang. Let's
I
do it.
know.
I think you'd be a really beautiful classic burlesque performer.
I would love to do it, and
Yeah,
now that
I think you
it's such a
should.
big blessing because like we
Yeah.
also have a guest on the Young Money podcast here that was the person planning for my live streams that were going to be sold for certain companies for that burlesque performance. And now I didn't know who to look for. Now I know you. I'm like, yes,
That is
serendipity.
the pandemic bringing people together, you know. That's
Exactly.
like the one thing, the one good thing that the pandemic brought.
True.
I
Yeah.
Connected
I
us
feel like
all.
your show before. I feel like I know why it got changed into singing. I feel like there was a wife involved who's like, "What the hell are you
Yeah, yeah.
planning?
That's true though.
What?
That's
What
true.
do you mean it's a classy burlesque? You
Yeah,
stick
yeah, yeah.
and it's like, no, it's singing. Sorry, it's singing.
It's singing, but she's very sexy, Referen, right? No,
So
that's
I'm like,
true though.
I'll sing and remove my clothes. Huh? Joke.
I feel like that's what
Classy,
happened.
classy. No, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's true. Like a huge part of what we constantly battle with every day is censorship, whether it's online or in with big live company gigs. It's always censorship. Like the moment that you mention the word burlesque, people freak out, for better or for worse. It's either they're like, oh wow, Christina Aguilera, Crazy Horse, or Dita Von Teese,
Mm.
or they go, eh, isn't that, obscene? And I think those two sides, burlesque has many sides. Burlesque and stripping has many sides. I think that, you know, um it all it's part of the appeal. It's part of the
Mhm.
appeal, partly because it's taboo, partly because it's risque. There's a sort of rush that comes with that branding. Oh, it's sexual. It's women, reclaiming their sexuality, stripping. What do you call this?
Teasing
On
the
their
man,
yes, on
whatever.
their own
Yeah.
free will. They're like, oh, that's so
Mhm.
bawal. That's what makes it so
You're a
exciting.
bad girl.
Yeah,
No, I'm
yeah,
not.
I'm a
Don't
bad
you do
girl.
that in four walls? Like what?
Yeah, and beyond.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, yun. So it's what do you call this? It's all of that. It's revolutionary, I guess, to put it
I
in.
love that.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
It's
Yeah.
revolutionary. It's revolutionary for a woman to own her sexuality in the Philippines, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Especially in the Philippines, and anywhere in the world, I believe, but especially here, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
especially
Yeah.
Joyen, so how did you get into this field, these fields
yeah,
that you're in
so
today?
many fields. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, it's really funny whenever someone asks me that. It happened by accident. I am sure that no, like, Catholic raised Filipina, traditional Filipina, ever dreamt of or knows, even Dita Von Teese and all of these burlesque and kink icons. I don't think, it's what they write in school now, what do you want to be when you grow up. I don't think
They're
I
not
don't think
exposed to that also, no?
definitely not.
Sayang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not. But maybe now we can expose them. Yeah, but
Slowly.
it happened by accident. I would say that it happened by accident. I like watching anime. I like going on DeviantArt and LiveJournal when I was very young. Diba? I was introverted, and I spent most of my time reading kasi and on the computer. So, and I was sheltered, like I guess like most Filipina girls, diba? Young Filipina girls who went to a Catholic all-girls school. Yan kasi. Joke. No, but like yeah, it was just me and all of these things that I'd see online, diba? So parang I guess it was that, and I developed a preference for those kinds of aesthetics when I went out into the world. Let's say as early as my college days in UP Diliman, and I had these aesthetics for bondage, for rope, for nudity, for empowered stripping. People were like confused by me. Parang, why? What? Di ba bawal yan? Tapos ako, I didn't know. I didn't know. Like, as in, we don't have education kasi about it before, right? So I was like, that's what I grew up with. That's like my aesthetic when I was younger. And then when I went out into the world, they were like, sobrang bastos niyan. That's so risque. That's so,
Mm.
alam mo yan? So it was, I accidentally found myself, creating these small, little, um, pockets of the underworld here in the Philippines na because I associated with them when I was younger, I didn't find them here when I grew up. I started making my own, my own little worlds, and I'm like, okay naman, diba? I mean, it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
What were you wearing that made people say that's basta? Were you wearing a strap on out at the mall?
Di naman. I can do that in private though. No, not really. I actually didn't want to. I wanted to be a photographer. Okay.
Wow.
I wanted to be a photographer, and I guess one of my plates in college, I took this elective class in fine arts in the UP College of Fine Arts, and my chosen subject, with all of those, what do you call this, references, with all of those things that I grew up with, I had to choose bound models, bound androgynous models, so I would tie people up and shoot them. That was my,
Nice.
yeah, that was my college plates for this elective in fine arts class. And then I originally wanted to be behind the scenes, behind the camera. I wanted to tie people, yeah, and then take pictures of them. And then somebody asked me to perform that. It also happened at an exhibit opening at an art gallery. They were like, "Can you perform the photos that you took? I mean, we're gonna exhibit it, but can you also perform you doing that?" So I performed
Wow.
it at a rooftop, and there was like a live rock band. And then like people's reception, it was really like they were staring at me glassy eyed. They put their drinks down, they stopped talking, they were just, and it
I
was
love
like,
it.
yeah, yeah. I didn't expect that. I was like, I'm just tying someone up. It's like watching someone sculpt something or paint something. Parang that's how I viewed it back then. I wasn't aware of the connotations of what I did. I wasn't aware of, oh, that's so revolutionary and feminist and all of that. I wasn't aware of that. It was just me doing a
Doing
performance.
you.
Yeah, doing me. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I was
That
like,
sounds really
yeah.
cool. A really cool event, though.
So
The
cool.
bondage with the rock band. I on a rooftop.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool.
That sounds
How
like a
come we
fun
don't get
event.
invited
I
to
will
stuff like
now.
that?
There's so many events that I want to do. I'm gonna invite both of you,
I
definitely,
love it. Sige.
definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Go
Have
ahead,
you?
Vince. I know Vince is like
yeah.
speechless. I
I
love
have
That,
it.
something for
that
you. No, no.
that is the
But
face.
sayang. Have
Yes.
you have has Conduit reached out to you? The
Oh yeah, no, yeah. We before the pandemic, kami ni Marvin, we were
Marvin. Yeah,
planning. Yeah, si Marvin,
I'm one of
diba?
the partners at Conduit, so I would
What?
have. Yeah, so
What?
I would. So
Oh
I
my
would.
small world.
Yep, yep, absolutely. So I would have pushed you to Marvin, but if you're already talking, good to go.
Yeah, we were talking right before the first lockdown. As in, I had like a bondage brunch, Sunday
Sayang.
brunch. So
Wow.
April, tapos sakto, lockdown, boom, wala. So I mean, we're talking again though. We're
Yeah,
talking again, tapos nag mini lockdown again because of the, the Omicron
yeah.
variant. And we were supposed to have something this February. We were talking about doing something this February, but I'll definitely. I mean, you'll definitely be in the loop with
Okay.
that. So yeah.
So 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 can you talk more about your field? I mean, how? I mean, because as you've said so many times, it borderlines a lot of things. So how do you deal with that? I guess.
Um, it's got to do with a lot of with packaging yourself, depending on who you're talking to, I guess, and depending on what your goals are. For example, because it's risque, because it's taboo. When you talk to, for example, the big companies who hire us for corporate gigs, stuff like that, hotels, big names who want us for their Christmas parties, you have to um, say the right words. So you can't say stripping, you can't say burlesque. I usually say Vegas showgirls.
Nice.
Diba?
You're
Yeah,
Mm.
right.
yeah. I usually say it that way, you know.
It's the
Um, I,
same thing, but it's just the frame of mind on it.
yes, yeah. You have to really say it that way. Or for example, when you're talking to the art crowd in Poblacion, for example, like your conduit, diba? Like that venue. I have more artistic license to say that it's the art of stripping,
Mm-hmm.
about
Yeah.
Absolutely.
the art of lap dance, for example. Or you know, I could at the same time, you know, when we go to the girly bars naman, you could just say, you know, banging your vagina to the ground. Diba? It's the wording, you know, you have to be
Yeah.
very smart with the wording, with the packaging, and you have to have this portfolio of performances and photos that shows your range, diba? So you have the sparkly, glittery outfits with the giant headdresses. That's what you show usually to the hotels. And
Mm-hmm.
you're always in shorts. You're always in shorts. It's always like that. Like they can't take it when you're in bras and panties, even if it's a
Got it.
Vegas showgirl inspired show. So you have to also think about your hair, makeup, wardrobe when you're presenting to these clients. It's also better if you have a manager also, you know, a
Mm.
manager like a middleman when you're talking to um, these people.
And you have
Um,
that, I assume.
before the pandemic.
Oh well,
Yeah,
Diana will introduce you to our friend. So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's
um
also yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
so when sorry, how do I frame it?
I
Oh,
love
It's
it.
no,
okay.
how do
We're
you deal with
no
because yeah,
censorship here.
no, it's more so there's a lot of art into it. But how do you deal with I'm sure there's also a lot of creeps, a
Mm,
lot of pervs who
mm.
kind of might I don't know what the line is, but I'm sure there are guys or girls uh or others
And
who may
everything in
cross
between.
the lines.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do you deal with that and what are the lines if for you, I guess?
Okay, so first of all, in my own way, you know, I'm also a bit of a creep and a bit of a perv, a consensual pervert. It's
Okay.
about yeah, it's about that also, you know, being a pervert I believe is bad only if it's non-consensual.
I
Oh.
think that's what makes a
Let me write
pervert a
that down.
pervert. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but that is true, yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's non-consensual, yes, but if you're like a consensual person, you know, in the end they kind of like being
See,
yeah, you know.
there's this half joke where if like this fat old ugly dude grabs your ass, there's like, oh, you pervert, you slap him. But then
Mm,
at the same time, if
Mm.
it's Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio, he grabs your ass. A lot of times
Ah.
yeah,
you
he's
might
not a
turn around and be like,
pervert.
oh, hi,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah. But wait, sorry, go with
Yeah.
what you're saying.
It depends on you know in line with those cases that you mentioned, diba? It depends on what your intentions are, what your goals and your limits are, you know, and what scenario you're in, for example, and you know that ultimately defines the boundaries of consent, diba? Where are you? What are your goals? What are your limits? Who are you with? 'Di ba? Kasi for example, if yeah, it's okay lang naman. If it's spoken about beforehand, if it's clear na this is what's gonna happen, these are the rules of the game, 'di ba?
Mhm.
You're in the proper venue for it. There are right people in that scenario, and then you know it's consensual perversion. If it's out of line when you remove any one of those things, 'di ba? If it's in the street, if it's someone that you don't know or didn't communicate earlier with, diba?
Yeah.
Yun. That's when you remove one of those factors, that's when it becomes non-consensual perversion. That's when it becomes bad.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, how did you go from like the sa school, and then they ask you to perform, and then after that, did you like start not doing performances, or did it take a while? Like, how did you move from
Yeah.
shooting people
Mhm.
first, yeah, and
Mhm.
then you started performing that time at the roof
Mhm.
deck?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you go through like make it a profession? Because I'm
Mhm.
amazed.
Mhm. Me too. Sometimes, like when I look back on it, I'm like, what happened?
It's
Yeah.
amazing, man. Like,
Yes.
thank you for paving way for like more women to do that
Yeah,
here.
and I hope more women do it.
Yeah,
I really hope so, and men and everything in between.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, how did it begin? I really wanted to pursue something else.
Mm.
As you know, as all most Filipino women, I really wanted to pursue something else. I really wanted to be a photographer. I even dabbled a bit in audio engineering. Ang labo, diba? As in, like, what?
Pero
And
it
then
helps, no?
it
Helps
does.
you if you're
It
performing.
does.
Now you know
Yeah, yeah.
each,
Yes,
diba?
yes, yes. I know all of my angles. I know my
And
lenses.
and you know what happens behind the camera
You
too.
know what
If you need
happens
a
behind the
certain
camera.
angle, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And you know how to talk to the guys who do it also,
You
diba?
can play all the roles, so you can hire
Yeah,
people to
yeah.
do it
And
for
you
you.
know how
Yes.
hard the work is, diba? So
Yan. Yep. The
you really,
appreciation. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to be. I really wanted to be behind the scenes. And then on the side, parang ano, hobby. It started as a sort
Mm-hmm.
of hobby. Oh, okay, I'll perform rope, ganyan. And then I did it. I even did this stint with Playboy Philippines. I'll shoot, I'll model on the side, ganyan. It was really like a hobby thing. It started out as a hobby before anything else. And then suddenly, parang the demand for me being in front of the camera or being on stage, it started outweighing, my gigs as a photographer or as
Mm-hmm.
a client, and even in social media, for example. I would post my photography portfolio online, and it wouldn't get as much engagement as my naked pictures
Yeah, yeah, I get
or
it.
naked and bound pictures, diba, of me tying up other people, of me tying up myself, ganyan. So it just sort of naturally went towards that direction. The gigs started snowballing and snowballing. People
Nice.
would be more interested, be more receptive to me, um, as the performer, as the dominatrix, as the burlesque stripper. So I kind of just naturally went there, and then I'm here now. I okay, okay, diba? It's again by accident, I guess, also. But kasi with everything that I choose to pursue, I really try to learn as much as I can about it. I try to write about it. I try to talk to people about it. I educate myself and other people about it, diba? Because that's what I didn't have when I was younger. Diba? When I was pursuing this, parang like there were no mentors around here in the Philippines,
You did it on your own. Now are you
Uh,
you I see on your website you're teaching also.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Amazing.
if you're in this line of work, for example, you can't just be a performer in the Philippines. You also have to teach people what you're doing, how to appreciate it, how to correctly appreciate or view it, how to view it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's another point of view. More than anything else. I mean, stripping has been around, sex work has been around in the Philippines, diba? In Pasay, in Antipol. I mean, it's been around, but people just view it in a certain kind of way. Diba? There are
Yeah.
people who have done it before me. There is a BDSM community in the Philippines. There is a kink community in the Philippines. There are full
Look at
service.
Vince.
Huh? What? No, there.
Really?
Yeah, huh?
What?
I I've not gotten an
People
invite to
do
these.
that?
You will now. Yeah, but I
Oh
mean,
my
they
god.
are around. They are around. It's just that they are viewed only in a certain way. So more than anything, I find myself in a position to teach people to view us in another
Mm-hmm.
point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Mm.
I hope it helps.
So,
Yeah.
You're definitely helping, both of you.
Joyen,
Thank
can you
you.
share with
Thank you
us
for
your tamest and your wildest events that you've been booked to do? Maybe your wildest you were asked to do that, but you actually said no. But
Oh my god.
yeah, maybe you can share both your tamest that your probably your corporate events that you do or whatever it is, or and your wildest.
Okay. So for the corporate events, it definitely has to be the New Year's Eve shows. Those countdown, yeah, and countdown New Year's Eve shows, and then we would perform this super sanitized version of Lady Marmalade in shorts.
Sanitized version. I
Yeah,
love it.
super sanitized talaga. As in, naka-shorts kami. We would be in shorts. Bawal magpakita ng stomach. So, like, bodysuit na shorts. Yeah, sobrang
Stomachs are
conservative.
taboo. Okay.
Yeah, bawal
Kaloka.
lang, yeah, bawal ang skin. Okay. Or
Ganon
Well,
like,
you
nangyari
showed
sa
your
amin sa
belly button,
Dubai.
you will go to
Bawal
hell.
lahat.
yeah, you will go to hell. No, it really happens, diba, Diana? It like,
Yeah, it happened to
you
me in
want
Dubai.
burlesque, but you don't want skin. Okay.
Parang,
Oo,
edi
but
mag-hip hop ka na lang dyan.
oo nga eh. Gusto niyo sexy pero walang two-piece. Okay.
Yeah.
But it does happen, diba? It really does happen. Not just in in my field, diba? Of course, with Diana and
Mhm.
Vince also.
Yeah,
Yon.
they don't like it when I show my belly button too. I get it.
Sayang.
Vince!
Sayang. Ano ba
Nalay
ba?
mo,
There,
Vince?
there was also this one show na parang long gown, okay? Long gown, and I stripped off the long gown, and then I'm still in another long gown.
It's like those magic shows where it's like the one
Yeah.
gown then gets replaced with another
Yeah.
gown.
Yeah. Kasi ayaw nila ng like bodysuit naman, so gown into another. Okay, so, but those, ano kasi, those gigs pay really well. And, at least we're bringing burlesque into the big companies. So, okay. You get it. Baby steps, I
Yes.
guess. Yun. As for the the worst, di naman the worst. There
Wildest,
actually
wildest.
it depends.
Wildest.
Define wildest. Okay, that depends on your point of view. But I guess for me, it would have to be
I
like
feel like if it's wild for you, it'll be wild for a lot of people. So
a
yeah,
lot of.
just give yours.
It depends. Like, for example, I don't like tickling. Tickling is too wild for me. Diba? So it
Okay.
depends.
Okay, fair
Or
enough.
like, again, showing my toes. Diba? That's wild for me. But it depends. So, but for the sake of of seeming wild to this audience, I guess it would have to be the private kink parties, the ones that we're not allowed to publish online. Um, the ones that we cannot publish online, we don't take photos of.
Bachelor party, may ganon.
Oh no, that's light.
Ah,
That's light.
really?
That's light.
Yeah, that's light.
Oh
That's
my
really light.
god.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, I have this joke before. Na I've never been invited to weddings. I'm always at the bachelor parties. I get stuck. But anyway, bachelor parties are fine because the audience there is still pretty tame. They're usually, they want to see naked girls, diba? It's still pretty tame. But it would have to be like the kink scene parties wherein, everyone's kinky, and then we get together and hold the party at a hotel. And that's when people just, form little pockets in the room, in the suite, and then they do their own thing. Okay. And in the kink scene, that is very wide range of things. Okay. Again, as long as it's consensual, diba? So there
Mhm.
are a lot of bodily fluids involved. There's a lot of what do you call this?
Look at Vince's face.
What? It's
I want to
natural.
rewatch this. I love
No,
it so
I'm just
much.
sad that I still haven't gotten that invite. But
I will.
keep
It's
going.
hard. It's hard to do now.
No, keep going
Yeah,
first.
no.
I
True.
want to hear the full story.
I mean, yeah, if there's a pool, there's someone being tortured in the pool, consensually tortured. There's someone with a giant vibrator. I've had the pleasure of pleasure of, what do you call this, using a wand on someone, and then she had menstruation. Pala, it's really messy. It's a really messy what do you call this? Party. It's a play party. It's a play
Mhm.
party. And someone.
Is this sort of by invite only private just for fun, or is this sort of like small by still by invite only but paid thing? I mean,
Hmm.
or both.
Both, yeah. It could be both. It could be both.
Okay.
The really fun ones, though, there are the community events wherein the organizer, usually there's a famous dominatrix visiting the country, and she's like, hey, let's get together, let's invite the entire community. Vouched for, they have to be vouched for. Sometimes they even have to present their IDs to the organizer for safety. diba? So
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows everyone, so you can be safe. It's all secret, by invite, by vouching only event. Um, and then yeah, we hold the party for the community. Sometimes there's an entrance fee, sometimes there's none. There's food and drinks. People give food and drinks, although we do have restrictions when it comes to alcoholic beverages and drugs, because it's hard to play if you're intoxicated. It's not, you know it does happen, but it's more for advanced players who really know each other well, diba? But for these types of community events, it's often um, not
Interesting.
not encouraged.
I
Yeah,
would think that people would like to get a little tipsy to
yeah, yeah,
loosen up, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
actually,
interesting.
yeah, that's a big misconception when it comes to us. Because actually,
Mm-hmm.
because we do a lot of talking, we do a lot of preparation beforehand. We do know that most of the things that we do are risky and risque, diba? So it involves like a test of physical and psychological limits. So if you add alcohol or drugs into that, diba, that
Nakakagulo na yan. Yeah,
nakakagulo,
totoo.
nakakagulo. So you have to be like
Paano?
super sober
I
to do.
have so many
Mm.
questions.
Oh,
I
I
can't
also have
hold
so many
myself.
questions, and we're already at 30
Oh my
minutes. Oh my god.
Paano pag first timer? Like, oh my
Mm.
god, wow.
Actually, in the Philippines, it's a beginner community ang Philippines. So most of the people that I deal with are beginners. That's why I find myself like lecturing kink
Ah,
101,
yes.
stripping
Uh-huh.
101 all the time, because everyone here is technically a beginner. So you have to, I really have to sit them down in a public space. For example, it's kind of like a coffee date, and then you talk to them first in a non-kink setup. So
Mm-hmm.
you're in street legal clothing, you're around people, 'di ba? Preferably at a Starbucks at a mall, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Para hindi intimidating, and then they won't feel like they're bound to say yes to the things that they don't want to say yes to.
And they feel you're real people too. Like,
Yes,
we're
yeah.
all real here. We're
Yeah,
good.
exactly, exactly.
It's
Kasi
just what
when
we
you
do.
Exactly, kasi when you go to the event and everyone's like,
In
tits
character.
and tits
Yeah.
and leather and alam mo yon, and fisting someone, parang ano siya eh, as in yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, maso-shock ka talaga eh. And then you might find yourself saying yes to the things that you don't really consent to. So
Mm.
you really have to prepare for it. And then, if as an experienced dominant, I have to see na kunyari kung nag-yes ba siya dahil na-excite lang siya, or alam mo yon, those layers in communication pa, I have to take those pa into account na
Matrabaho ah.
it is, yeah, it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
but people like just see the 50 shades part of
Yeah.
it. It's
Right,
like,
right, right. Oh, how did that impact your business, by the way? Because that was just recent, right? I mean, kind of recent,
kind
that
of, yeah.
opened to the world, like for other people that had no idea
Mm-mm.
about anything like that. Then it was mainstream. Did that
Mm-mm.
kind of like help a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. In a way, um, BDSM and kink became a household term. Like you could just mention 50 Shades. Alam mo yung parang 50 Shades, and then people would
Mm.
immediately understand, at least part of what you're talking about. The problem though with 50 Shades is it comes from a point of view na parang it's not from a kink person's point of view. It's not from a kinky person's point of view. It's like they overheard someone talking about it, and then they
Mm.
decided to write a fan fiction. Parang ganun yung 50 Shades of Grays. That's why some parts of it are very problematic. Like
Mm.
it's statutory rape. Diba? Those things still
Right,
apply to us, by
right.
the way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
diba? And it's
Um.
harassment, yung kinukuha niya yung phone niya, diba? It's um
yeah, yeah.
yun.
She
Wow.
So
So 50
cries
Shades
because
is
she's,
is
yeah.
over the line. Okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
good to know. That's actually good to know
yeah.
that the community is very safe.
Mm-mm.
That
Yeah,
even 50 Shades crosses the line
it
sometimes.
does.
The
It does. Yeah,
mainstream 50 Shades. Okay.
yeah, it does.
Joanne, I'm curious about these extreme parties that you do, the private
Yes, you
parties
are.
and whatnot.
Me too.
I mean, amongst other things, but just more safety wise, are people tested like for those
Mm-mm.
extreme parties? Do
Mm-mm.
you have to go with a test card, STDs, things like that?
Yes,
I guess
some
now plus COVID.
yeah, yeah. Actually, that's why it's very hard to do now. Yes, you really have to test everyone. Health
Mhm.
check. Me personally, like I think you saw that, or did you when we did that shoot. But I always have contracts. I have release forms with me before I tie anyone up, before I play with anyone. We have to sign all of that. We talk first, even if it's at the party. We go outside and we have a little chat first. Oh, okay ka ba dito? Is this how is your level of physical comfort today? Ganyan. Do you have any hard limits? We still chat before. It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of paperwork, documentation, also for everyone's safety. Yun.
This is such a good talk. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So we're running short on time. I need to rush through our
Yeah.
questions we need for our listeners,
Oh,
other than
nga
our
pala.
side. So because
The
it's so
most-
Yeah,
interesting.
I love
So
this.
so for if someone's listening and they want to get in the same field as you, what are concrete steps that you can advise them to do?
Okay, so when it comes to kink, at least we use social media that's specifically for kink, and it's international. It's fetlife.com, parang fetishlife.com. And you can create an account there, and you can find kinksters from all over the world. You can just search Manila, Cebu, or Dubai, Hong Kong. It's all over the world, and you can search for communities there that you want to get into, diba? And um, in your profile there also, you get to pick what your role is, diba? You get to pick what your role is. For example, me, I'm a true dominant, diba? It doesn't have to be black and white. In fact, I think there are 30 items in that drop down menu. You could be a submissive, a baby girl, a daddy. You could be primal. You could be a switch. So many things. There are so many things that you can. Again, that's an hour's worth or two.
Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah,
I need explanation on each one, but again,
yeah.
we're out of time, so just go ahead. Go
I'm
continue.
sorry.
Mhm.
So you can pick your role kasi. And it doesn't have to be na kasi dominant ako, I always have to be the top, I always have to be in control. No, the beautiful thing about kink is it recognizes that humans are unique individuals. You get to choose the path that you want to pursue, as long as you learn about it, you educate yourself about it. So there are so many things that you can be in your kink life, with your kink persona, diba? What else? You also can type there what you're looking for, about what you're looking for. You're looking for a dominant, you're looking for events, you're looking for friends, you're looking for, whatever. You can type. It's sort of medyo dating site na Facebook for kinky people. And then most of all, you can also specify your level of activity, diba? For example, me, I'm 24/7 that, diba? In my profile, I'm a public personality. You can see me everywhere. I will be, Mistress Joyen, the Dominatrix, unless maybe when I'm in BIR or something. They're the ones dominating. They're the ones dominating. Diba? Parang, I guess when you're with when you're in that situation, I'm not so dominant. Pero most people though, they only most people have day jobs, diba? Most people have other lives. So there you can write that you're anonymous, diba? In some aspects, and no one will ask you, no one will force you to reveal private details about yourself, diba? If they see that na they only practice during events, for example, or they only
I
practice
was gonna
during
ask
the
you
night.
that. I have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
question for you. Like, for example,
Mm,
a person is attending one of the events,
yeah.
or they're contacting you, or they join the kink community,
Mhm.
they go to
Yeah.
fetishlife.com, and then,
Mhm.
like, you think this is a little personal. Do you think it is important that you always have a partner in your life that is into the same things when it comes to kink? Because, like, I could imagine, like, men that they kind of like don't tell their partners, or
It
you
depends.
know, and then they go to the party, and then
Mhm.
imagine mo, no, then parang you have a partner that you don't know is into that,
Mhm.
because they're shy. There's a
Mhm.
stigma, right? Oh, you're bad. Oh, you're doing
Mhm.
this. Malandi
Yeah.
ka, ganun. I hate that. So,
Mhm,
well,
mhm.
I've been through a lot of that because
I
of
see that.
being
Yeah.
exposed. Yeah,
Yeah.
being exposed to like all this sexual stuff. But anyway,
Mhm.
so my point here is like, I would feel personally betrayed by my own boyfriend if he goes to a party without letting me know, and it's a
Mhm.
kink party. But I would appreciate if he opens
If
up
he
to me and
brought
say,
you, yes.
yeah, let's do this. So how does that
Hmm.
scenario happens when, yeah, in your field? Let me know because I'm really curious.
Again, that Diana, I also have like a 2 hour workshop on
Oh
that.
my god!
Because it's a very it's a recurring concern with Asians in particular. I think I held that workshop in Singapore online because it's really an Asian thing na parang there's this push pull
Mm,
in with couples na parang I want to, but how do I ask? They might think
mm,
of me in a certain way that I don't want to think about. I really want to go to the party. It's that thing rin kasi. And ultimately, again, it's really about setting your limits and your expectations. It's really that you have to begin with that. And I can't tell you na okay, this is what you tell your partner and then follow it verbatim, diba? That's not how it works, eh. I like to explain it as it's your gift to give,
so you
diba? It's
also
your
counsel your
yes.
clients and
Well,
tell them,
I'm not a counselor.
no, I
I'm just
mean,
very frank.
right. You have to
And I
tell them
know a
like,
lot of sexy things. Yeah, and a lot about human nature. Apparently, it's what do you call this? You really just have to look at um what are your goals, and then
mhm.
you have to know it muna for yourself. That's a problem also with most Filipinos. They don't know their goals. They don't know how to say it.
Baka kasi curious lang din, mga
Yeah,
ganon.
yeah.
Oo.
Yeah, and you have to be super exact pa.
Mhm.
For example, you have to be as exact as I want to give you head for 5 minutes, then you spray the cum all over my face. As in, it's that exact, diba? And then
Oh, wow.
most Filipinos would be like,
Yeah.
I can't say it. But what if diba, that's what you want? Something as exact as that. I want you to invite me to a kink party, and I want you to be my partner when we're at the kink party. And when we go there, it's going to be a great experience, learning experience for us. Baka magkaroon ng jealousy, baka magkaselosan tayo. But I am willing to explore that with you as my partner. It's hard to say, diba?
Wow, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
it's
I was
hard.
asking
Yeah.
professionally it must be like well, you're used to it probably and you're very professional at it, but I can just imagine like what you have to go through first. Like you
Mm,
have to, diba? Like
yeah.
really, I
You
have to
really
deal with
have
these
to.
people now. I have to
Yeah.
explain this to them.
Well, no, it's very human, and
Yeah.
me personally, I also experienced that. I also experienced na how do I say this, 'di ba? Tas ako pa napaka-extreme pa nung stuff that how do I say this, 'di ba? How do I say that I like being hung upside down by my ankles while you're whipping? Alam mo 'yun? Parang it took a while for me to say that. That's why I also I understand the struggles of Filipino people. Ultimately, you have to package it correctly. Same as when talking to the big companies, 'di ba? You have to package
Mm.
it correctly, right time, right place, 'di ba? You don't just again like similar to what Vince said. You don't wear a strap on at the breakfast table and say, "Honey, curious ako eh." 'Di ba? You really have to take baby steps, ease them into it. Maybe start with a sexy joke muna, sexy text, see how they respond to it, and then start
Mhm.
introducing sex and kink into the conversation. It's a long, again, it's a long process. But then again, if your partner is worth it, then why wouldn't you, diba? So,
Mm.
yeah.
So we're gonna
Sorry,
ask you
nasa
to
na ba
show.
tayo? Sorry.
I love it.
No
I
worries,
love
no
everything
worries.
you know.
We have so
Yeah.
many more questions, but
Yeah.
for
I
time's sake,
know, I know.
I'm I'm going to ask you a very different question from what you usually
Yes,
get. People usually ask you to show me something else. We're going to ask you this time to show me the money.
yes.
Um, how is, I mean,
Yes,
can
Jerry
people earn from
Maguire.
this? I know internationally, I'm sure the big name Dita Fontis is probably earning millions.
Mm.
Here in the Philippines, um, is this financially, is this a career people can actually get into?
Hmm. So it depends. Again, there are many parts of this field, diba, that we know. It could range from, and I can actually show the figures, but I can show the money.
I
For
love that.
example, we can start with something as simple as altar, diba? Altar, Philippines.
Okay,
What?
what's that?
We're gonna pretend like we don't know alter.
No, but I know that's sort of like your alter ego. You make a second account, right? That's what that is,
Kind
right?
of, yeah.
How do you earn from that?
It's an experience in Twitter wherein Filipinos, if you search alter Philippines, alter Pinoy, alter Pinay, you see usually blurred faces with nude bodies, nude provocative bodies, sometimes engaging in the act of sex or masturbation, sex with other people or themselves, ganyan. And then um uh, some of them sell walks, diba? Pops. Some of them actually sell sex. You can book them. You can sell sex through Alter, and then you can also sell content, photos and videos. Diba? Photos and videos could go, let's say, 30 custom short videos for 300 pesos. It could go as much as that, diba, on Alter. And then these are people who regular Filipinos who have day jobs, and then take photos of themselves in the cubicles, well, in the restroom, diba, habang break sa opisina, something like that. It could go like that. It could be like that, and then it could be pampadagdag income every month. It could also go as high as, for example, certain celebrities who would give you a girlfriend experience for a couple of million pesos.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, diba? So girlfriend experience, it's a full package, diba? Wine, dine,
I am in the
fuck,
wrong
and
field.
yeah.
I'm
Well, it's a very
I'm,
volatile. It's a
when you
very
said
volatile
about altar,
industry.
I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, I'm like, oh my
Yeah, I
God,
thought
I'm
it was just I thought
so,
it was just like your second
I'm like,
account, like your private
oh
account. I
no.
didn't know
Alternate,
it could be
There's
a
so
an
much
alternate.
I don't
alternate
know.
account is what
I
I
feel
thought.
Search
I
nyo.
feel so naive, guys. Oh my
No,
Same, yeah.
just
I
search
think
for
next to
them.
Joyen, everyone is naive because I'm not
No, no, no.
usually.
I'm still learning as well. I'm still learning. I mean, I tried Alter. I did try Alter, but apparently, like, masyado, like, I'm too
Parang
upfront.
OnlyFans?
O parang, well, OnlyFans also, which unfortunately isn't allowed in the Philippines. You need to have,
Talaga? I
yeah,
didn't
you
know
need,
that.
yeah, you need to have like a US address, or they only serve a couple of countries kasi. So, yun. Ang OnlyFans naman, iba-iba rin yan eh. They're known for having sex workers on their platform, but you
Mm-hmm.
can be a DJ or a
Yeah,
regular
there are
actress.
other professions
Yeah,
there.
Yeah,
Cardi
yeah.
B is there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cardi B is
yeah.
there. It's just famous because they do allow consensual sex work with all
Mm-hmm.
of the paperwork though. Kailangan you have to provide all of the paperwork. And it's hard kasi parang it's confusing the legalities here in the Philippines, I guess. That's why they don't want to deal with us. So
Mm.
Okay.
we don't have OnlyFans. We do have I have a Patreon, for example. I have a Patreon. That's what paid the rent this pandemic. Yeah,
Interesting.
which I kind of used like an OnlyFans. It's allowed in the Philippines. However, parang you need to package yourself in a more artistic way also. So imbes na rope bondage, I would say rope art. Diba?
Yeah.
Yun, stuff like that. So and it's a monthly subscription. Yun naman, monthly subscription as compared to yung Alter, for example, that you can directly send the cash to the person's GCash, diba? This
Mm-hmm.
one is monthly subscription, and it's US based, so we get paid in dollars. I mean, it's great. I was able to earn a couple of $100 throughout the pandemic kasi ang lilibog ng mga tao. So I mean,
And they can't
so
get out. They cannot get together. So
they
that's
can't
the
get
thing.
out,
Yeah.
so they get off there, diba? And a couple of online shows, then you earn a couple of hundred dollars then. So yon. When it comes to,
Interesting.
yeah, go ahead.
If someone wants to get into this field, what would I'm sure it depends, I'm sure, but what would be some of the highest earning parts of this field? Like,
Mm.
would it be the corporate shows? Would it be the like, yeah, what would you recommend if they were serious and they really want to get into this field and make it big, at least career wise?
Okay. So there's both, again, like a public and a private side to it. If you want to go public, um it has to be like the big hotels, the big companies. I mean, those will really pay you. However, they will sanitize your performance. So when it bread and butter gigs, those will be your bread
Mm-hmm.
and butter gigs. I love them. I super duper love them. I will continue doing those gigs, but they won't be really an outlet what do you call this, for your artistry, for your own artistry, that goes somewhere else. The private aspect of it, though, like when we're going to talk about sex work, it's really the what sells is really full service. Okay, so there's this term called full service, and you actually have sex with the clients. That's what's going to sell. Okay, and it's usually word of mouth. You know this person, you know that person, ganyan. That's really what sells. Upfront, siya. You know, people are
I love how
simple.
honest you are.
Yeah, I mean it's simple.
You
It's
show me the
really,
money, she showed
yeah.
you the
I
money.
showed you the money of the world's oldest profession. It's really that. Okay, that's really what
It
people
it
would pay for.
it is the world's oldest profession, but at the same
It is.
time, will you get in trouble for that, depending on the country you're in? So
Yeah,
here mainly.
depending on the country you're in, yes. In the Philippines, come on, guys, prostitution is rampant in the Philippines. It just matters na parang who you know, diba?
Mm.
Ganun lang din siya. What matters is who you know, where you do it, ganyan, how you do it. Ultimately, when you look at the when you again look at certain places like Malate, like Pasay, diba? They also,
Burgos.
yeah, Burgos, diba? They package themselves a certain way. They also have their code of ethics. They have their certain laws in the underworld, diba? But it will always be there. Okay, the world's oldest profession will always be there.
Got
It
it.
will thrive.
Yes, I'm so speechless.
So, so before we move on from this question, roughly, what are the? Do you have a rough um ballpark figures of for the top earners and the beginners in this field? Like, what can they earn?
Okay. So, yun nga, it's a very volatile industry.
Yes. Okay.
Specifically because there are no specifics, 'di ba? You get to choose your own identity, you get to choose your own offerings. Um uh how someone, for example, puts a price tag on their pussy is different from the next
From
person.
person to
Yeah,
person.
So
from
maybe
person
not
to
that
person.
one, but maybe the corporate shows, maybe that
Yeah,
one we can.
even
Okay.
those for example, I guess the dancers pre-pandemic, before all of the testing, if you a dancer's salary, a regular dancer's salary would be 5 to 10,000 pesos per show.
Okay.
Regular na
Mhm.
dancer, when you're the troupe head, when you're the manager, when you're the choreographer, it changes,
Okay.
diba? Yan, it changes.
Okay.
So, especially for example with burlesque. Ang burlesque namin, meron kaming parang sexy premium kasi it's a sexy show, 'di ba? So it's not hip hop,
Mhm.
'di ba?
Mhm.
We're bearing a bit of skin. So
Mhm.
we tend to ask for around 8 minimum per dancer,
Mhm.
'di ba? Depende pa yan, group
Okay.
choreography, solo, it's that.
Awesome. Well,
You should
let-
manage these girls also. That are you?
It
Yeah, no,
it's
because
hard to manage eh.
yeah, that's
'Di ba?
true. No,
Yeah, it's a bit
yeah.
I,
difficult to manage, yeah.
well, we have a million more questions, so we will have you on for part two. But we are way over this is supposed to be
I'm
up to
so
40 minutes.
Yeah,
We are way.
I
No,
don't.
no, no. Don't be sorry because we had so much fun. We're so excited. And please
I
do
love it.
for your if you ever have an event, I will bring Diana. Hopefully, you can invite us, and I will bring
I
Diana as my
will.
bodyguard
I will. I really
to
want to
protect
meet Diana
myself
in
from getting
person.
fisted.
Yes.
I will bring Diana to protect me. Uh,
Oh, siya yung feeling ko si Diana yung dom.
Oh my
Probably,
god.
yeah. I'm too nice. I probably, but see, I know again from 50 Shades. I know what a dom is. I know what a sub is. But you mentioned like 30 other terms. I was like, what the hell is
There's so
that? So,
many. There's so
Yeah,
many. Yeah.
so,
amazing,
so,
crazy. It
any-
expands and expands. I didn't know. Go ahead,
Sky's
so
please.
the
we
limit.
we will have another session with you soon. But Diana will now give her key points that she picked up, which I'm sure are a lot. But
Yeah,
Diana, we're out of time, so
Go
give us
tell
the,
me.
the
I
super key
actually
points.
stopped writing because I was just too. Yeah, but yeah,
I love how you have a notebook pala.
She
all
does.
my
She
podcasts.
loves
Yeah,
learning. That's why I love having her
yeah.
as a
I
co-host.
every time that I watch also podcasts, like one of the best podcasts that I always see people are taking notes of their guests because there's always something to learn, right? There's always something to take home. So basically, I'm just amazed that like from UP Fine Arts, like, and then you're like
confusing,
shooting
yeah.
people. No, it's not confusing. It's amazing because you found yourself in, discovered yourself into like, and it's not something that you're going to say because people have this impression that people that do sex work related stuff, they don't have an education, they are doing that because they need money, and it's
Yeah.
not about that. It's a
It's one point of view.
passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's passion, and you bring passion to the art here. And for me that was refreshing, and I was like, whoa, because like all I knew about this is, yeah, like I said, I needed to meet someone like you because I need someone to guide me how to do the correct art strip that I need to do for my show that I was planning for 2 years. And I'm like, and then they go, oh, but we need you to sing only. And I'm like, why would you do that? I was so excited, with the
Sing and
champagne
strip.
glass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sing and strip. Let's do
Yeah.
it after the pandemic.
Joyen will
So
book you an event where you can still do the strip. I'm sure we'll get a
Yes.
lot of guys who will
See you
pay
at
for that.
see you at
So
Congress.
iba yan, Vince, ah. But
yes, you'll make more money from that. So Joyen will
Yes.
book the
oh
event.
my god. No, I just want to be on stage lang. But no, yeah. And I don't know, my key points are just really that I'm amazed that I'm I'm speechless, but I'm sure that everyone listening right now and watching our podcast will be more than informed. And I think it's a blessing that you're here telling us all that because we don't have that information, out here in the Philippines. Like people don't talk about it, and it's a very taboo. People have a lot of stigma on going. I'm on, this is kind of off topic, but it's still connected. I'm an advocate for HIV awareness for 11
Mm.
years, and every time we go around talking about sex and educating people and testing them and telling them this is how you do the right stuff, this is how you
It's
protect
related.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, right? But
Very
then like
related.
we get a lot of stigma, like, so are you positive? And I'm like,
Yeah.
relax pa lang.
It's
We're
very
just trying
related.
to. So I'm like, like, guys, let's talk about it. So thank
Yeah.
you for what you're doing, and thank you for guesting here too, because it really helps us. I have another one. What is your final tip for our listeners and for anyone who's inspired to be like you? They're just hiding and they don't know how to do that. They're just like, yeah, I'm on the internet, but nobody knows who I am.
Yeah.
What's your
We,
final tip
we
to our
call them the
listeners?
lurkers. Yeah, the lurkers.
Lurkers.
Yeah.
I'll write
I
that
guess
down.
for the final tip really is you have to get to know yourself. You have to get to know yourself first, and you have to find love and acceptance within yourself first before you start fucking around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
iba yun eh. The type of energy and the intentions that you will
Mm.
bring will be different. If you don't really know yourself and you don't accept every aspect of yourself. Like kanina, diba, I mentioned na, you know what, I'm actually a pervert, and most people would think of that as a bad thing, but you know what, I am a pervert, and as long as it's contained, it's educated, it's an educated, intentional
Mm-hmm.
decision, then it doesn't bring harm upon other people,
Yeah.
diba? So you have to really know and accept, love and accept yourself when you're getting into this type of industry, because um you need a balls of steel, diba? You need to,
Facts.
yeah, you
From all
need,
the judgment of
yeah,
people,
from all of
now
the
the
judgments.
opinions. Yeah.
Yes, you need that.
Facts.
So you have to be solid with, at least with yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
diba? Before you venture out into the
Galing.
other people. Yeah.
So
Galing.
Joyen, if people want to reach out for more advice or to book you or whatnot, please give us your socials.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm mostly on Instagram and Patreon nowadays. It's at Joyen. Follow me while I'm still there because my Facebook got deleted for adult content. So yeah, we're suffering a lot of censorship right now. Because we're sexy workers, so we're being banned across social media. But while I'm still there, at Joyen, Instagram and Patreon.
Nice. I will follow
There,
you.
Thank
there
you.
you go. Thank you so much, Joyen. Really appreciate that. Every time I run into you, it's always such an interesting
It's an
conversation.
adventure.
It's
How did you
always
guys
an
meet?
adventure.
Sorry, it's at the end of
Um,
but I
Well,
wanted
we're
to
in
know how you
Manila. We
guys
were
met.
expanding. We were trying to do sort of a men's magazine type. We were doing this thing called Intimate Manila,
Ultimate
and
Manila.
I'm not sure how I ran into Joyen's profile, and then we booked her for a photo shoot back then.
Yeah.
So
I
that's the
was
first time we met.
Tuloy
But then,
natin yan. I will join you guys if you do Intimate Manila.
Tara! I want to tie
Oh.
Diana.
Oh my god!
I'm totally
have
flirting
never
right now.
tried.
See, consensual perversion.
I have never tried any kink stuff, na mula ako, but
Oh, see?
I've always
We're
been
flirting
interested
right now.
on learning how to strip
Tara,
artistically.
let's do it. Let's do it after the pandemic. I'm fully vaccinated.
I'm fully vaccinated too.
Let's do
Vince?
it.
As long as
Look
I
at
get a free ticket, I will allow.
You'll promote. You'll promote everything.
Oh, I will
and then
promote. Oh, okay. Oh, it's a
provide,
public event. Okay.
provide the venue and all of that.
Okay. Okay.
We're
I
gonna
will
get
promote.
into the news. When in Manila headline, Diana Menezes will
No,
be
this cannot be a win in
tied-
Manila.
Tabloid. Naging
This
tabloid.
cannot be
Naging
a-
tabloid, correct.
I love.
Thank you so
Wait,
much
thank you so
to
much.
our.
Sige, I'll ask
Go
that
ahead.
next time. We didn't
No,
ask to
go,
show
go,
me
go,
the
go.
money.
Go ahead.
How much does it cost if we want to take a lesson from you?
Oh, a lesson. How much my lesson?
Yeah, I saw it on your website. So I'm like, whoa, show me
yun
the money.
pala. Actually,
Yeah.
for burlesque, we do have regular classes at Beast House Poland Aerial
Oh, yun
Dance
pala.
Studio. But that's
Oh,
burlesque,
okay.
ah. That's
Mhm.
burlesque. So, it's mostly choreography. It's a balance of
Uh-huh.
choreography and performance and sexy performance. If you want to take like the more BDSM workshops classes, parang you can actually just message me about them. It depends because sometimes there are group classes, there are individual classes, but they go for a couple of $1,000 pesos. Siguro starting price might be 5,000 for the most
Nice.
basic one, So for the most
Okay.
basic one, I'm sure we want to learn more for the lessons.
right. This is such a long episode, Vince.
It
I'm
is.
sure
It is.
a
So
lot
I
of
need
people
to
will
cut
watch
this off
this.
now. But Joyen, again, thank you so much. We will talk more
Yes.
after we end the show. But
Yeah.
thank you, Joyen, for
you
being
so
our
much.
educated
Our
pervert today.
perverts.
Our
I love that.
For and educating the
I'm
perverts out
speechless.
there with us as well. It's always such an interesting conversation. So again, thank you everyone for listening in. On behalf of our educated pervert,
I'm
Joyen
gonna
Santos.
hashtag.
My name is Vince
Hashtag.
Galanco from wheninmanila.com.
And my name is Diana Menezes. Thank you for watching. This is such a fun episode.
Yep,
Enjoy
this
your
was
day.
the Young Money Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Mwah.